we're in an interesting time economically. There are plenty of jobs out there. There's relatively low unemployment numbers, but yet our local businesses keep saying we're really struggling to hire employees. How are they getting assistance from our local government? That question can be answered by our next guest, Jennifer Llewellyn, who is the Manager and Workforce Development Director at Oakland County, Michigan Works. Jennifer, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back.
Yeah, great to have you with us again because Michigan Works does such great work with employers, with employees, with people seeking jobs and seeking to hire throughout the state. And in the past, we've talked to you mostly about how your organization helps people that are looking for jobs get into those jobs. But nowadays, it really seems like these companies need a lot more of the help themselves to entice people that are looking for jobs, or even those that maybe have taken a back seat in looking for jobs of late, to ultimately fill these positions that they're in some cases in desperate need of. So what are some of those resources that you're providing to local businesses to help them in this journey as they're trying to fill those positions and get themselves back to some normalcy in their operations?
Yeah, Tyler, it's an interesting time in my 25 years of workforce development. I'm not sure that I've seen a time like this where we have, struggling with labor force participation rate. How do we get those individuals that have been sidelined over the course of the last few years? How do we get them to re-engage in the workforce? And then also, how do we, meet the needs of employers that they have significant needs, both entry level. We have the evolving economy of EV and connected mobility and industry 4.0 and robotics and automation. And so it's a unique time. Our team is really focusing on both sides of that effort. So on the first side, how do we get more individuals to participate in the labor force again? So really working with our residents across Oakland County to identify what barriers they're facing that might be interfering with their ability to get back to work. So maybe if childcare is an issue or transportation is an issue, or there's other barriers that they're facing, we have resources and funding programs and initiatives and grants available to help individuals overcome those barriers and help them transition back to work. One item in particular we're really proud of is an investment from County Executive Dave Coulter and the Oakland County Board of Commissioners to create our scholarship program, our child care scholarship program. We're awarding $1,200 scholarships to individuals who are transitioning back to work or transitioning into education to help them get over that hump and help them make that transition back to work if child care is a factor. On the flip side, we're also working with businesses across the county to help them identify, what gaps do they have? Do they need to fill entry-level positions, mid-level or high-level positions, and be really creative, right? If they're using the post and pray model, post a job and pray they fill it, it's not going to work in this economy. So helping them come up with innovative strategies using social media, virtual job fairs, making sure their job descriptions and job postings are really enticing, making sure their wages are competitive. It's really a time to be creative and use maybe some different strategies than what they've used in the past.
The easiest way to find Oakland County, Michigan Works is to go to their website, oaklandcountymiworks.com. Oakland County MI, like the state of Michigan, works.com, or give them a call at 248-858-5520, 248-858-5520 for more information. And again, this is for those that are seeking jobs as well as those employers that are looking to fill some of these positions. And Jennifer, as you talk about some of those incentives, we've known in the past during the bulk of the pandemic that those incentives were a huge part of hiring employees and hiring staff, whether it was while people were working virtually, and certainly as people were coming back into these physical locations as things started to open back up. And now those incentives really going to need to be a little bit different. You touched on some of those points, but you are in a unique position. Your organization's in a unique position where you're able to interact with both those employers and those potential employees. And so from the angle of those that are seeking jobs, what are those things that they're really, really focusing on as things they want out of their employer and they're willing to stay on the sidelines if they're not able to get?
Sure. So, a lot of the job seekers we talk to, or even folks that are employed, that time during the pandemic really gave them a chance to reflect on, what was important to them. Work-life balance has a new meaning. many people got a perspective that they had never gotten before, working remotely or having more flexible time or time with their family. And so we're hearing more and more from job seekers are saying, I really enjoyed that time. I really want something that allows me to have that work-life balance, allows me to have that flexibility. Also, the wage competitiveness. We've seen wages increase over the course of the last few years. We had some feedback even prior to the pandemic from the University of Michigan does an economic outlook forecast for Oakland County each year. And even before the pandemic, they were saying, wages are really flat in Oakland County, and something's going to have to give a little bit. And really what the pandemic did was really magnify that challenge. So, folks are looking for that work-life balance. They're looking for competitive wages, and they're also looking, to find their personal goals, right? How can I contribute to the success of a company? How can I be part of a workplace that makes a difference? How can I impact the lives of others? And those are things that we've historically heard in workforce development. So it's fascinating to watch how the culture has shifted from both job seekers and employers in the county.
We're joined on the program today by Jennifer Llewellyn, who is the manager and the workforce development director at Oakland County Michigan Works. Again, more information can be found and resources from Oakland County Michigan Works for job seekers and for employers looking to fill some of those critical positions in their company at oaklandcountymiworks.com, oaklandcountymiworks.com, or call them 248-858-5520. And Jennifer, for these companies, they know that these are things that employers want. These have been on the list. Some of these different incentives and those necessities, that work-life balance, maybe childcare, certainly the competitive wages, have been something that have been brought to the negotiating table quite aggressively by those seeking jobs over the last couple of years. But for these companies too, they're also in a state of recovery, or they're trying to gain that momentum back following the initial recovery as they're going forward and things are much more back to normal than they were before. So how does Oakland County Michigan Works in their consultation with these businesses suggest that they go about approaching that balancing act between the needs of these job seekers and ultimately those needs having to be somewhat fulfilled to get them through the door and ultimately accept your job offer, but ultimately still not putting yourself at a disadvantage where you're stagnating as you're trying to really get some of that oomph back into your business?
Sure, Tyler, this is where I think we can be most helpful to businesses across Oakland County. So not only attracting new employees, but how do we help them keep the employees that they have? And how do we help their employees grow on a professional trajectory? And that's really, the fourth piece that a lot of job seekers and employees are seeking, right? They're seeking an investment in their education and training and development. They're seeking career growth opportunities. We're spending a significant amount of time helping employers create registered apprenticeship programs. We have some great investment from the federal level and the state level to help offset the cost of creating registered apprenticeship programs within companies. Now, a lot of people, when they think of registered apprenticeship, they think of the skilled trades. They think of plumbers or pipe fitters or welders, but really you can apprentice any occupation. It's a combination of that on-the-job training and formal education. We have funding available to help offset the cost of a registered apprenticeship program for employers. We have an apprenticeship success coordinator on our team that can help businesses from start to finish, because it can be an intimidating process if you haven't done that before. But we have an extraordinary team here at Oakland County Michigan Works that helps create the apprenticeship program, implement it, and identify those dollars. We also have funding available through a regional talent innovation grant, and we have the Going Pro Talent Fund, which again provides funding for businesses to apply for, and they can use those dollars to upgrade the skills of their existing workforce or train new employees. So, if they have someone that has maybe 75 or 80% of what they're looking for, maybe they're missing just a little bit more as far as skills, we can provide them funding to upgrade the skills of that employee and help them get industry recognized credentials and certifications that make them a competitive, helpful resource within their organization. So, again, it's that balance. How do we help them keep the employees that they have, grow those employees that they have, but also train new employees as well. So if folks aren't connected with us, I would really encourage them to reach out to our Oakland County Michigan Works Business Services team.
And it's an interesting time too, because, and I was talking to some family about this recently, that so much of the current dynamic between employers and job seekers, or even employers and those who are no longer seeking jobs or have been on the sidelines for a while and are no longer counted in the unemployment, are looking for those sort of incentives. And it kind of brings parallels to the late 90s or the early 2000s, where there were so much of those incentives being provided by companies that were willing to really invest in these employees over time. Now we're seeing that kind of come back in really different economic times. So where do employers see this going in the future in terms of that balancing act between providing all these incentives to retain employees and certainly to bring people back in, while also providing enough to keep their company mobile and moving forward, and ultimately not over investing in those employees, both current and potential, which could be of detriment to everybody involved?
Sure. I can't imagine being a small business owner in this environment, right? Trying to find that balance, to be competitive, to offer competitive wages and competitive incentives. And this is where we're seeing a lot of companies be really creative with, even low cost options. One business we were talking to was a healthcare facility, an assisted living facility, and they found they had food left over at the end of each night, and they started packaging up those meals and offering those meals to the employees to take home after work. And employees were saying, gosh, I don't have to go home and cook dinner. I can just provide this food for my family. And that small thing where they were making that food anyway, to be able to offer that to their employees as an incentive was really helpful. It's a lot of that career growth and career trajectory, and using resources like Oakland County Michigan Works, or even our education partners, Oakland Community College, Oakland University, nonprofit organizations, and being really savvy about what types of resources are out there for small businesses. Oakland County has a business forward team. It's a team of consultants that specialize in working with small businesses and helping them grow across the county. Reach out to them, reach out to us, because we know this is a competitive environment, and there's a lot of help that's available to companies to help offset some of those costs.
More information can be found on oaklandcountymiworks.com, and you can also find information about contacting your local Oakland County Michigan Works office. 6 of those all throughout the county: Novi, Southfield, Oak Park, Troy, Pontiac, and Waterford. All that contact information, their hours of operations, their locations, all on oaklandcountymiworks.com. And as you talk about the consultation and working closely with these companies, how does Oakland County Michigan Works ultimately help them in this effort? Take us through that typical consultation between your organization and these companies, and just how you really get into the nitty-gritty with them to approach their personal problems, their individual problems that they're facing and those challenges, and helping them through that, while also helping them kind of with those general challenges that all envelop this current economic time.
So we have an extraordinary business services team here at Oakland County, 20 certified professionals that are trained in business solutions. So really the first step is connecting with the business and sitting down with them and really asking some tough questions, doing that fact finding. What are your pain points? Are you having a difficult time hiring? Are you having a difficult time keeping people? Are you having a difficult time, creating those career trajectories and growth? And as you said, it has to be customized for every business. They're all different. Everyone has unique needs. And our business services team, we try to think of them really as generalists, where it's not always that Oakland County Michigan Works has the solution, but we have an extraordinary group of partners from across Oakland County that can help address some of those needs. So for example, we had a business recently that hired some of the refugees from Ukraine and Afghani refugees, and they were finding that English was a barrier. Well, we have great partners with our adult education partners and Oakland Literacy Council that can come in and provide supports to that organization. So that's really the first step, is just getting in there, finding out where are the challenges, where are the successes, what are they doing really well, and how can we help that grow. The second piece is, starting to develop some of those solutions and partnerships. So bringing, the right organizations to the table to craft some of the solutions for that business. Sometimes it's our Michigan Works programs and services, and sometimes it's others. And then the third piece is obviously implementation and follow-up. So, is it creating an apprenticeship program and getting that implemented, or applying for a Going Pro Talent Fund grant and getting those dollars, or getting them connected with a partner. So, my big ask is always like, just let us sit down and talk with you. If we may or may not be able to develop a solution or get you connected to the right partners, but even if we can offer, something, if we can address one challenge or help a company overcome one barrier that they're facing, that could make a difference for their employment and retention rates.
Yeah, and it all kind of snowballs forward into other efforts, whether it's on the employment side or just other efforts you're making to grow your company and get that momentum back following the COVID-19 pandemic. There's quick links on their website for employers and employees for a lot of different resources as well on OaklandCountyMIWorks.com. OaklandCountyMIWorks.com is the website. You can also follow them across social media on Facebook and on Instagram at Oakland County MI Works, and on Twitter at Oakland MI Works for more information. All those links on the website again, OaklandCountyMIWorks.com, or call them 248-858-5520. We're joined by Jennifer Llewellyn, who is the manager and the workforce development director at Oakland County Michigan Works on today's edition of the Megacast. Jennifer, a few more minutes with you before we will need to move on. Bringing all this kind of back to those job seekers, how does that all parallel to your consultation with them, knowing what these businesses are looking for and knowing what these job seekers are seeking to ultimately make sure that they get what they're looking for out of this job search, while also helping these companies fill these different job openings that in some cases are critical openings that they absolutely need to fill?
Yeah, it's the consultation with job seekers is almost more important than it is with our employers, right? We have to help them understand the dynamics of the labor force right now and the workforce and what businesses need and want. So, very similar to businesses, that first step is just sitting down with a job seeker and getting an assessment of where they're at. What's their educational background? What's their work history background? Are there any patterns, right? Have they been terminated from their last 7 jobs, or, were they at a company for 30 years? Those can make a difference in the next steps for their career. We also talk about any personal barriers that they might be facing. Are there financial hardships that they're up against, or transportation challenges, or childcare challenges? All of those are factors when making a job transition or career transition. And sometimes when people think about workforce development, they just think about getting a job or enrolling in education, but really being able to sit down with someone and understand the whole human being, that whole human-centered approach, and help, what are their short-term goals? What are their long-term goals? We also get into, educational, reading levels and math levels, and what their interests are and what their abilities are. So that piece is so important, that very, very first step before they enroll in education or start looking for their next job. We really want to get to know them. And then, similar to the employers, the next step is identifying, okay, what's the plan? We have a great team of career advisors at the 6 centers that you mentioned that sits down and says, okay, what's our next steps, right? Do we need to help them get into an education program? We have funding available for short-term certification programs. Michigan has a great program called Michigan Reconnect. It provides tuition-free education at the community college for individuals 25 or older that have less than an associate's degree. Maybe they need a skill upgrade. So maybe they're in IT, but their skills are outdated, but they need some IT certifications. We can help across the trajectory, whether it's entry level or professional level positions. And then that last piece, making sure that they have the wraparound services that they need. So if childcare is a challenge, how do we get them connected to the scholarship program? Or if transportation is a challenge, can we help them with car repairs or auto insurance, or, Uber, Lyft, or, developing that plan and those solutions. And then hopefully, the last step is meaningful employment, something that they enjoy, something that helps them be economically self-sufficient, and something that, they have a passion and a love for. So it's really, it's embracing the whole person and everything, their education, their work, their skills, and making sure that we can help address those barriers and needs that they have.
Oakland County MIworks.com is the website for more information. Jennifer, before we let you go, anything else that would be important for our audience to be considering at this time, employers or job seekers?
One initiative I didn't mention is our Oakland County Business Resource Network. So back in 2018, 2019, we were looking at our offerings and our needs of our businesses across the county, and we found that retention of employees was a challenge that many of our businesses were facing. And so we launched the Oakland County Business Resource Network. And under this initiative, we provide a success coach out to a company once a week for a couple of hours. And that success coach can meet with any employees that are facing any barriers that might be interfering with their ability to keep their job. So things that they might not be comfortable talking to their supervisor or human resources about. And so we have 22 member companies that have joined the Oakland County Business Resource Network. Of those companies, the employees that use this service have a 90% retention rate. It's available at no cost, thanks to an investment from Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter and the Oakland County Board of Commissioners of American Rescue Plan funds. So small businesses with less than 500 employees can join the Business Resource Network. The companies that are part of the network, they also meet together once a month, and they share best practices and challenges as it relates to keeping the employees that they have. So really great initiative. It's our first time really being in that employee retention space, and it's some really meaningful and powerful work. So if people want more information on that, they can visit our website.
Oakland County MIworks.com is that website. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tyler. Always a pleasure.
Glad to have you on with us. A really important time and a lot of important information for both those seeking jobs and those looking to fill those job positions as well. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, the Michigan Science Center joins us as they once again fall in the top 5 of the best science museums all across the United States. Plus, we'll preview a very sweet partnership they have coming up